Going?
Yeah.
Okay. So, today we've been asked about our weapons in cosplay in general, but today we just want to talk about weapons, or specifically the weapons that we have. So, this is mostly going to be a Brandenn video, although I do have a few things to contribute later on, but we'll start with my sword, which is actually something that was purchased by him for my birthday.
Yeah, this is not an officially, by the way, like none of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, it's not like officially licensed merchandise by AMC or anything like that. It's stuff that other people have made, third-party sellers and whatnot that I researched and like found. So this is a perfect example.
Mostly researched.
Yeah, this is a replica Michonne katana. It's available on eBay. I don't know if they make them anymore actually because they're handmade and they come from China. If they are still around, we will provide a link. But there's other people who make stuff like this. The most important part, if you're like really into details like I am, is the engraving on the blade right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like a little logo right here on the blade close to the guard. Looks like a little barbed wire thing.
No, I think it's like an inversion of the symbol that's on the actual.
No, it's different. But yeah, it's pretty distinctive to like her specific. There you go. You can see it right there. And so this is the one that I like. I think it was like $80 or something. It's light. It looks awesome. People think it looks exactly like the one from the show. And I don't know, it looks for her.
Yeah. Although I won't be taking this one to Comic-Con because.
Yeah, because it's a real weapon. That is a real sword, by the way.
Yeah, they make you check. I mean, I have to check the plastic one. This would just be totally useless. If I took it with me to Comic-Con, I wouldn't be able to like pull it out or anything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of lame. They recently comic conventions have reinstated this silly policy where basically anything that could be used to hurt somebody, you have to now like secure it on your body in some way, so you can't like take it out. The downside of that, big downside of that is that now you can't take it out when people ask for pictures and stuff. You can't do like poses with the sword and like hold the gun up or anything like that. It has to like stay in the holster or in the sheath.
Well, speaking of weapons that I can't take with me, it also came with this, the sword that he bought for me, which is very, very cool. That's not that sharp, but real, and it's got some funky engraving on. So apparently they said that this was a Michonne knife.
I don't think that it's not. I mean, there's no instance in the show where she's like using that knife. They just kind of threw that in as a bonus. I actually didn't even know that was supposed to come with it because I'm lazy and didn't read the whole listing. But it showed up, and it's got like the thing where you can put it on like a belt or whatever. So it's kind of cool. It could actually be used for almost any Walking Dead cosplay because they all have a knife.
And it's a really cool knife. I'm really fond of sharp objects. I always wanted a Gil Hibben knife, and anyone who's familiar with like, I don't know, he's made knives for all kinds of film and TV, but specifically Fate's knife and season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I still really want to get that knife, but I like this. It's going to be a nice addition piece to my future wall of weapons. So I now have 3 swords and a dagger and this little guy.
Okay, so that's the Michonne side of things. So the Rick side of things. This is
okay. Before you get into that,
yeah.
So I had actually bought him an air rifle, an air gun that was just like Rick's, the 6-inch Colt gun. But he is an accuracy nut.
Yeah, I'm a little OCD when it comes to like details of costumes and stuff like that. I'm like really into it. So
well, if in the event he can't get this into a Comic-Con, my gun will pass.
This is true. This is true. So that should be noted that a lot of this stuff, I mean, like it's including the sword and especially this. This will not be allowed into most Comic Cons. So I'm gonna have to do something to this to make this passable. It's not a real weapon, even though it looks exactly like a real weapon. It weighs the exact same amount as a real Colt Python Type I, which is what it is. So as you can see, there's no barrel. There's it's not. It can't actually fire anything. It can't fire pellets or anything. There's no way for this to fire. These are incredibly hard to find. So basically, what it is.
The hand grips, you mean?
Well, the whole thing. So the type of gun that Rick has is a Colt Python type Model I, and basically, it's something that has not been made since the early 70s. So there's a bunch of different versions of the Colt Python. This particular one is from the early 70s. If I ever meet Robert Kirkman, I'm going to ask him why he chose that particular gun, because it's a very unusual combination.
I want to know the story behind Rick's favorite weapon.
I didn't realize like how rare it was until I tried to actually get it. It's incredibly rare. There was not a whole lot of them even made. So what we did is she actually found somebody online who makes replicas of these.
I'm really great at research.
Yeah. We'll put the link in there. His name's Gary, and he's fantastic.
Replicaguns.com?
Replicaguns.com. What you'll have to do is you'll have to find these particular grips, and I couldn't actually find a version that was the same color. I had to buy ones that were originally kind of like this white, not very manly looking color, and we stained them to be the same color as Rick's, that kind of like rosewood type thing. And then the guy at replicaguns.net, he bought a frame, this frame, which is the replica of a Model I Colt Python, and molded these grips onto it permanently for me. So this is a custom-made replica. You can't go and buy this from anywhere. They don't make them, so you have to order them specially and have somebody make it for you. So that's that. It's very cool. I don't know how I'm going to get it into a Comic-Con. It's going to be hard.
Stick with the arrow.
The other thing, yeah, seriously. The other thing, and a lot of people won't really care about this, but so the holster, Rick's holster is equally rare and obscure. It was originally made by a company called Tech Shoemaker, and it was used by policemen. This thing, this like swivel holster design, hasn't been used since the 70s either. So you can't go and just buy one of these. The company that made it originally, they do make new ones of them, but I think it's like $300 or something. It's in my opinion, really, really overpriced for what it is. I'm not going to go into too many details because it's just it's too hard to explain, but the way that I got a hold of this is I basically bought 2 other holsters that were like vintage holsters made by that same company, and I chopped them up and I sewed them back together to make this. So I actually constructed this like Frankenstein style from 2 other holsters. It took a lot of hours of work, and if I wasn't like OCD about the details, I probably wouldn't have done it because it was a huge pain in the ass. It required me like restoring both of them, and then like learning how to sew, which I as a man don't really know how to do naturally.
Although you did the seam for your sheriff's pants.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of badly done if you really look at it. I had to redo it later on because it was so badly done.
I thought it looked good.
So yeah, like those are some tips that you can use. The holster that they used to make that has this swivel thing, it's called the Blazer. If you type that into eBay, like the Blazer, 2 different words, you'll be able to find at least one holster that has this swivel design, and then if you can just find another holster, of which there's several that have the basket weave print like this, cut that off of its mount, and then like put it on here and sew it on, it looks just like Rick's. This is screen accurate in every single way to the one that Rick wears on the show. Or
you actually have a similar one, an extra one that we will also put a link for that he's going to sell on eBay.
Yes, so that is true. I bought another one that is very similar to this one, and it's been restored personally by me. So basically I took a holster that was not in great shape and did a bunch of stuff to it to make it look basically brand new. It literally does look brand new. and I'm going to sell it to somebody who wants it. So
That'll be in the link.
yeah, that'll be in the link as well. And this is actually kind of a test because I realized during the process that like all of this stuff takes a lot of time and a lot of work, and it took an unbelievable amount of research to even figure out how to do all of those things in a way that, like, I mean, leather restoration is not a simple process to begin with. And if there's a demand for it and people like that stuff, I might start like restoring holsters and selling them to people who want to do Rick cosplays because they're hard to find and I can help people out with that. So.
And, well, since I didn't have a whole lot to say this time around, I'll just add this for my fellow Michonne cosplayers. Part of the thing about my cosplay personally, this is the only really solid tip I can give you. A lot of the stuff that's sold online looks manufactured. It looks like kind of cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So my recommendation, a lot of my tops, for instance, I went to Salvation Army, thrift stores, things like that. And you can find things between like $3 to $5, things that fit her aesthetic. However, my new pants anyway, I did get from Athleta. They have really great, if you're doing like later season Michonne, like 6, 7, that would be my recommendation for where to get like her leggings. Also, they look really great and they feel very comfortable.
Yeah, you actually bring up a good point, which I forgot to say earlier. So that's like the reason why to go through all the trouble of doing it the way that I did it. If you don't mind spending $300 and you just want to buy the holster because it's cool and you want it for a costume, like that's fine. I just didn't want to do that because you got to remember that like in the show, they've been out in the wild for like 5 years or whatever. Buying a brand new holster that's like shiny and doesn't have like any scuffs on it, that looks ridiculous. Like in the context of a costume, like it's supposed to be like roughed up, you know. So the technique that she just mentioned of like getting stuff at Salvation Army, that makes a lot more sense. This is supposed to be battle gear, right? It's supposed to look weathered. It's supposed to look like
I literally bought only one of my tops is new. Everything else is old.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. If you have the patience. That's the best way to do it. So.
Same thing with my vest. I didn't I looked at all of the Michonne vests and they just look generic somehow. They just didn't look screen accurate. And my vest is by no means screen accurate, but it looks authentic because it's worn, it's kind of the right coloring. So that's just my suggestion to people. So hopefully some of that was helpful. Or at least interesting.
Yeah, and if it was not, let us know, and we'll never talk about it again.
Hopefully there's some thumbs up, though.
Yeah. We wouldn't have done this video unless a lot of people had asked us, so hopefully that answers some questions.
Yep, and until next time.
Until next time.